Andy, you're the executive director and a founding performer with Loadbang, an ensemble that features baritone voice, bass clarinet, trumpet, and trombone. Is there a specific moment in your 10 plus year long history that you identify as the transition from just four guys just making music together and just trying to make it in this competitive contemporary music scene to, yeah, I think we know what we're doing and we know how to make a living out of this?
Ooh. I don't know that there was one specific moment. I mean, I do think that it's worth noting that that we started the group when we were in school, but didn't start it because of school. I mean, we met because of school, but we started the group, and from the very beginning, we were never taking the group for chamber music credit or anything. We, from the very beginning, even though we didn't know exactly what it could turn into, we were treating it as if it was like a professional organization. So despite the fact that like most professional organizations make money, in the first couple years we exclusively lost money, or we were all putting money into the project from our own individual sort of bank accounts. But we were of the mindset from the very beginning that this is a professional group, this is a thing we can do. So we just kept working at it and sort of had the core belief that we're doing good work, we're getting really good repertoire, we're playing it at a very high level and hopefully getting better and better and better at it. So yeah, I'm not sure that there was a clear moment where there was like a switch. I think that there were encouraging things that happened along the line that gave us like outside like reinforcement that like, oh, we can do this because we're getting support from particular people, or you know, when a composer like David Lang agrees to write a thing for us very early, like little things like that make you feel like you can do it because there are these people who have been doing it and do it at an extraordinarily high level and believe that you can do it and are willing to spend time and energy on you. But yeah, so I think like because that was our mindset from the very beginning, then it's just been sort of taking that same mindset and continuing to grow the organization.
Sure. Do you remember the first time that happened? That you got like some sort of, I don't know, like a big name or like recognition from the outside that helped validate what you were doing?
Very early on, maybe in our first year or so, we were invited to play at the Stone in New York, which is John Zorn's venue, and that felt meaningful. Like that felt because that came from one of our teachers at Manhattan School was curating for that month and invited us to play. So that felt really nice. Soon after that was when David agreed to write a thing for us, and then a few years later when Charles Warren agreed to write a piece for us, and it sort of things escalated in that way. And not that I don't know. I mean, not that we necessarily needed that to help us keep going, but it certainly helped to have people, very well-respected people in the community, taking the time to come to a show, taking the time to write for you, taking the time to just sort of tell you that they think that what you're doing is great, as like these little encouraging bits that help you sort of keep plowing forward, especially in early years when you need that sort of momentum to keep going.
Sure, absolutely. How do you see Loadbang different now from when you first started it? Or what do you see the direction of Loadbang going now that makes the ensemble still continue to evolve?
I think that the nature of what we do forces evolution, right? The fact that we don't have repertoire to fall back. I mean, that's not completely true now. 11 years in, we have over 300 pieces for the group, and many of them are very, very strong, and we play all the time and are touring with them. But we don't have repertoire to fall back on in the same way that groups with an instrumentation with pre-existing repertoire do. So the fact that for us, the way to continue getting music is by commissioning, that forces evolution, right? That forces us to constantly be looking to the next thing. It forces us to constantly be looking to the next people we want to work with and continuing to cultivate a really wide and diverse body of composers that we're working with. So in terms of future growth, I think that aspect of it is built into the way we work. And then on the other end, which is like concerts that we're booking, is, you know, the more and more that we do, the more and more opportunities seem to arise. So in terms of growth, I think for us it's just keep on keeping on, which is fun, especially at this point now, 11 years, we kind of know what we're doing. So now the idea of keeping on is good because we know what that means. Like we know how to keep on. We don't have to sort of refigure out or not refigure out so much as like we don't need to figure out how to grow. The growth is like inherent in the institution.
Sure. Is there a change that you've seen? Like, I guess for either of you, did you see any kind of change in the history of your contemporary performance in how compositions are? Like, is there an evolution to the kinds of material that you're getting, or is it just kind of really dependent on the personality regardless of the year that you're getting the commission or anything like that? Like, is contemporary music moving in a particular direction?
Oh, I mean, I don't want to speak to that because I'm not sure that like I'm sure it is moving in. I mean, I guess what I mean to say is that it's moving in lots of directions. I think one of the really cool things about working now is that there's this plurality of voices, so that there's no one direction in which contemporary music is going. You can just, it's as easy as getting on the internet and seeing like the diversity of things people are coming up with and doing. Specific to loadbang, I mean, I'm not sure that I've noticed any trends, but I think it does help for composers now that are writing for the group that there is a great deal of repertoire that we've already premiered, and a lot of which is on commercial recordings that people can go and listen to. And so there is a potential model if people would like to take, like you can listen to what the group sounds like on a bunch of different pieces and learn from that. Whereas the first composers that were writing for us, it was really like clean slate, no idea what this could be even.
Sure.
So I think that's informative for composers.
Probably the same is true for this duo then too, because trumpet and voice is just such a unique kind of duet to have too. And I know that a lot of people, when some people that I've kind of talked to, is like they didn't really have a good handle on how they would want to listen to that or how they would want to write that. So even putting the stuff that you're doing as a trumpet and soprano duo is like kind of helping to define the map of what's happening with trumpet and soprano, or trumpet and voice in general kind of music, and that's really fascinating.
Yeah,
totally.
Exactly. Which is again why I'm always going back to like how lucky we were to have that first piece that really showcased the hybrid instrument that can be created with trumpet and voice, because I think a lot of the pieces we got after that used that same concept in different ways. And the more pieces we've done, the more possibilities composers can hear and then have ideas, knowing what sounds good, what maybe doesn't sound good, and
build from that.
Right. So yeah, it was sort of like an experiment, and then became very much a reality. And I feel like over the years it's become more and more defined, like what the duo is, which is exciting.